The deep space scanners at the edge of the galaxy picked up something strange. Long waves of energy rippled out from a small spiral arm, patterns that should not exist. The signals came from a place where only primitive life was supposed to live. On the massive space station called Nexus Prime, 7 alien races gathered around a floating hologram. The image showed a blue and white planet, third from its sun. Small metal objects moved between the planet and its moon, leaving bright trails in the dark. "This cannot be right," said Counselor Thex, his scales changing from green to deep red. The Saurian was one of the oldest members of the Galactic Council. "Our records show this species only discovered fire yesterday in galactic terms." Counselor Yith buzzed her wings in distress. The insectoid Zephyrian had compound eyes that saw far into different spectrums of light, yet they achieve faster than light travel. "Look at these readings. This is impossible." The screen zoomed in on one of the metal objects. Sleek and white, it cut through space with engines that burned brighter than small stars. The name on its side read, "U.S. Endeavor," in simple letters. "How did they build that?" whispered Counselor Neth. The crystalline being glowed with confused purple light. "We watched them for centuries. They were fighting with rocks and sticks just moments ago." Prime Luminance, the eldest member, floated above the others. This beam of pure energy had no solid form, only a shifting cloud of light. "Perhaps we were not watching close enough," it said in a voice like distant thunder. "Show me their leader." The image changed to show the inside of the human ship. A man with short brown hair and steady blue eyes stood on the bridge. He wore a uniform of dark blue with small metal pins on his chest. This was Captain Jake Morrison of Earth's first exploration ship. "These humans," said Counselor Thex, "they skip steps. They advance too fast. First, they barely had fire. Then suddenly they have nuclear power. No species should develop this quickly." Lieutenant Commander Amy Walsh, a woman with bright red hair and quick green eyes, studied her instruments. She noticed strange energy patterns ahead. "Captain," she said, "we're getting readings from something big." Before Captain Morrison could respond, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive ship appeared, unlike anything humans had ever built. It was made of smooth black metal that seemed to absorb light. Strange symbols glowed along its sides. "Unknown vessel," came a voice that sounded like buzzing insects. "You have entered Council space without permission. Prepare to be escorted." Dr. Robert Chen, Earth's chief scientist, stared at his screen in wonder. The alien ship's technology was advanced beyond anything humans had imagined. Yet something seemed odd about it. The designs looked old, very old. "Sir," whispered Amy, "I'm reading 7 different technologies on that ship. It's like they built it from pieces of other ships." Captain Morrison straightened his uniform. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of since they first looked at the stars. Contact with alien life. But something felt wrong. The alien's tone was not welcoming. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth Ship Endeavor," he said clearly. "We come in peace, seeking friendship among the stars." The alien voice buzzed again, now with what sounded like anger. "Peace? You build weapons that could destroy worlds. You change your own nature with machines. You are dangerous. The Council must decide what to do with you." As the alien ship moved closer, more appeared around it. Each one was different, clearly from different worlds. The humans were surrounded by beings who had been watching them for a very long time. Dr. Chen looked at his readings again. Something was not right. These aliens had powerful ships, but their technology was very old. Very, very old, almost like they had never improved it. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "I think we just became the galaxy's biggest problem." 3 weeks had passed since first contact. The U.S. Endeavor now docked at Nexus Prime, the ancient space station that served as the Council's meeting place. The station was enormous, larger than Earth's moon, made of strange metals that glowed with inner light. Captain Jake Morrison walked through the corridors with Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez and Dr. Robert Chen. The walls around them showed moving pictures of countless alien worlds. Each step echoed in the vast hallways that seemed built for giants. "Remember," Ambassador Rodriguez whispered, "we represent all of humanity. Stay calm, no matter what they say." They entered the council chamber, a circular room with a dome that showed the stars themselves. 7 beings waited for them, each stranger than the last. The Zephyrian clicked her mandibles. The Saurian's tail swished behind his chair. The ethereal one floated like smoke made of light. Prime Luminance spoke first. Its voice filled the chamber. "Humans of Earth, you stand accused of dangerous advancement. You grow too fast. You break the natural order." Captain Morrison stepped forward. "We only seek to explore and learn. We mean no harm to anyone." "Harm." The crystalline being flashed angry red. "You split atoms to make weapons that can burn entire cities. You change your own bodies with machines. You create artificial minds that think like living things." Dr. Chen could not stay quiet. "These things help us. We cure diseases. We feed more people. We reach for the stars to find new homes." Counselor Fex ist. "Every species says this. Yet you advanced in just 10,000 years what takes others millions. This is not natural. This is wrong." The hologram showed images of Earth's history. Humans with stone tools, then bronze, then iron, then suddenly rockets and computers and spaceships. "Look at these charts," said the ethereal. "You went from first flight to moon landing in just 66 years. From first computers to artificial intelligence in 50 years. No species advances this fast without help." "We had no help," Ambassador Rodriguez said firmly. "We learned by trial and error. We failed many times before we succeeded." The Vorthan, who looked like a large sea creature, spoke with a voice like water flowing. "Failure? You call nuclear weapons a failure. You call global warming a failure. You call wars a failure." Dr. Chen felt anger rising. "Yes, we made mistakes, but we learned from them. We're still learning. We want to do better." Prime Luminance showed them images of other worlds. Some were beautiful, with crystal cities and floating islands. Others were empty, with only ruins and dead ground. "These species also wanted to do better," it said. "Some we helped. They follow our guidance and live in peace. Others refused our help. They chose their own path and destroyed themselves." Captain Morrison asked the question that had been bothering him. "What about the species that you helped? Did they ever create anything new? Did they ever discover anything you didn't teach them?" The council members looked at each other. No one answered. "You want us to stop growing," Ambassador Rodriguez said. "You want us to stop learning. You want us to become like museum pieces, safe but never changing." "We want you to survive," Counselor Fex said. "We have seen what happens to species that advance too quickly. They always make the same mistakes." The Zephyrian buzzed in agreement. "The Galactic Council exists to prevent chaos. We maintain order. We prevent wars. We guide species along safe paths." Dr. Chen noticed something in their words. "How long has the Council existed?" 5 million years, Prime Luminance said with pride. "And in all that time, how much has your technology improved?" Silence filled the chamber. "That is not important," the ethereal finally said. "Stability is more important than progress." Captain Morrison stood straighter. "To us, progress is life itself. It's what makes us human." The trial had only just begun, but already the lines were drawn. Humanity would not simply accept limits placed on them by others, no matter how old or powerful those others claimed to be. During the trial's first break, Lieutenant Commander Amy Walsh walked alone through Nexus Prime's lower levels. She had an hour before the hearing continued, and something bothered her about the alien technology around her. She found herself in a maintenance area where no one was watching. Amy pulled out her scanner and ran it along the walls. The readings were strange. Very strange. Amy discovered hidden data streams flowing through the station's walls. These weren't regular communications. They were encrypted messages bouncing between different parts of the station. She recorded what she could and hurried back to the human quarters. "Look at this," she told Dr. Chen, showing him the data. "The council members are talking to each other in secret." Dr. Chen studied the numbers on his screen. "I can't break the code, but I can see who's sending messages to whom. The crystallites are very active. They're sending data to almost everyone." Meanwhile, Commander Frank Lewis had his own concerns. The head of human security had noticed energy signatures that didn't match what the council claimed to have. He'd been watching their guards, their weapons, their ships. "Something's not right," Frank told Captain Morrison. "These aliens say they're peaceful, but they have weapons we can't even understand. The Vorthan especially. Their ships have empty spaces that shouldn't exist." Captain Morrison frowned. "What do you mean?" "Hidden compartments. Weapon systems they're not showing us. The readings don't match their outer appearance." That evening, Dr. Chen made an important discovery. While studying council technology, he noticed something odd. The aliens used many different technologies, but they all looked ancient. Very ancient. "Captain," he said, "I don't think the council invented most of their technology. Look at these patterns. This metal, this energy system, this computer design. They're all built the same way, like someone made them long ago." Amy nodded. "The Zephyrians showed me their navigation system. It was old, very old, older than human civilization. But here's the strange part. It looks like it was meant for someone else to use." Dr. Chen pulled up more data. "I've been comparing their tech to ours. We built our computers from simple parts to complex systems. We can see the progression. But their technology jumps around. Simple things are missing, while advanced things are everywhere. Like someone gave them finished tools without teaching them how to make those tools," Captain Morrison said slowly. Frank came in with new information. "I've been mapping power flows in the station. There are systems here that the council members don't seem to know about. Dead systems. Systems that should work but don't." Dr. Chen's eyes widened. What if the council isn't the first galactic government? What if someone came before them? That night, Amy continued her investigation. She found an abandoned section of the station, blocked off by barriers. Using her tools, she carefully cut through and slipped inside. The hallways were dark, but her flashlight showed incredible things. The walls had different symbols, older than anything she'd seen. And in one room, she found something amazing. A library. Not a digital one, but actual books made of strange metals that wouldn't rust or break. Most were in languages she couldn't read, but some had pictures. The pictures showed beings that looked different from any council member. They showed great ships, powerful weapons, and a galaxy full of different species. At the center of many pictures was a symbol, something like a star with lines coming out of it. Amy took photos and hurried back. When she showed the others, Dr. Chen gasped. "I've seen that symbol before," he said. "It's carved into some of the council's oldest technology. Hidden, but there." Captain Morrison studied the evidence. "So the council didn't build this place. They inherited it. They're not the original galactic government." "Which means," Frank said quietly, "they might not have the right to judge us at all." The humans had found something the council had hoped to keep hidden. The question now was what to do with this knowledge, and whether it could help them in their trial. The trial was in its second day when alarms began to sound throughout Nexus Prime. Red lights flashed in every corridor. The council members jumped to their feet, speaking quickly in their own languages. "What's happening?" Captain Morrison asked. Councillor Thex's scales went pale. The outer sensors detect movement. Something is coming from deep space, something old and dark. On the large display, black shapes appeared at the edge of the galaxy's rim. They moved in perfect formation, like insects in a swarm. Each ship was enormous and covered in sharp angles that hurt to look at. "The Void Stalkers," Prime Luminance whispered. "They have awakened." Dr. Chen studied the strange ships. What are void stalkers? The ethereal being flickered with fear. Machines. Ancient machines. They have slept for thousands of years. No one knows why they wake. Counselor Yith buzzed in panic. They consume matter. They turn planets into energy. When they last came, we lost 7 worlds. Captain Morrison stepped forward. How do we fight them? The council members looked at him in shock. The crystallite flashed angry red. Fight. We do not fight. We hide. We run. We hope they go back to sleep. That's not an option for us, Ambassador Rodriguez said firmly. These machines threaten everyone. We need to work together. Frank Lewis checked his weapon systems. Captain, the U.S. Endeavor is armed and ready. Our ship might be small, but we won't run from a fight. Counselor Fex shook his head. You do not understand. These machines adapt to everything. Our weapons barely scratch them. They learn from each attack. On the screen, the Void Stalkers moved closer. Their ships were unlike anything humans had seen. No curves, no smooth lines. Just sharp metal and weird energy patterns that made the sensors act strange. Dr. Chen noticed something. Their ships aren't random. Look at the formation. They're following a pattern. Amy ran her scanners over the alien machines. I'm seeing energy signatures that match some of the old technology in the station. But these are different, like they were made by the same people but for a different purpose. The first Void Stalker ships reached the outer defense platforms. The Council's automated defenses fired powerful energy beams. The shots hit the machines and did nothing. Nothing at all. How is that possible? Frank asked. Their hulls shift, the ethereal said sadly. They change to resist whatever hits them. After one shot, they become immune to that weapon type. Captain Morrison made a quick decision. All human ships, move to battle positions. We're going to help defend this station. You cannot. Counselor Yith buzzed. Your ship will be destroyed in seconds. Maybe, the captain said, but we're going to try. The U.S. Endeavor broke away from its docking bay. Its engines burned bright blue as it flew toward the enemy. Other human ships followed. Exploration vessels now turned into fighters. Dr. Chen worked quickly at his station. Amy, I need you to scan those machines again. Focus on how they adapt. Amy's fingers flew over her controls. I see it. They change their armor based on weapon frequency and energy type. But Captain, they've never seen our weapons before. Good point, Captain Morrison said with a grim smile. Let's give them something new to think about. The Endeavor fired its plasma cannons. Blue-white energy struck the nearest Void Stalker. The machine's hull rippled like water, trying to adapt. But for a few seconds, the shots got through. Did you see that? Frank shouted. We heard it. The Void Stalker turned toward them, its dark surface now covered in angry red marks. More machines began to change direction, coming straight for the human ship. They're adapting to our weapons already, Amy warned. Then we'll have to be creative, Captain Morrison said. Time to show them what humanity does best. The space around Nexus Prime was filled with explosions and flashing lights. More Void Stalker ships arrived each minute, their dark hulls cutting through space like huge sharks. Captain Morrison watched his screen as the enemy surrounded them. Frank, status report. 3 of our ships are damaged. The machines adapt to every weapon we use. After a few shots, nothing gets through. Frank looked worried. Sir, they're learning too fast. Dr. Chen worked at his station, sweat on his forehead. I'm trying something new. Amy, can you route power from the engines to the weapons? What are you thinking? She asked, her fingers dancing over the controls. We need to combine our systems with theirs. He pointed toward a crystallite ship nearby. If we can merge our weapon patterns with alien technology, maybe we can stay ahead of their adaptation. The Council ships moved in old, predictable patterns. They fired their weapons at set times and distances. The Void Stalkers had seen these attacks before and blocked them easily. But the human ships moved differently. They flew in wild loops and sudden turns. Captain Morrison had told his pilots to fight like they were in atmosphere, not space. Lieutenant Sarah Johnson flew her small fighter between two massive Void Stalkers. She fired her missiles in a pattern that made no logical sense. Instead of aiming at the strongest part of the enemy ship, she shot at empty space. The Void Stalkers followed her missiles with their sensors. At the last second, the missiles changed direction. They hit parts of the machines that were not protected. How did she do that? Counselor Fex asked, watching the display. Frank grinned. Human intuition. She's not following any rules about how space battles should work. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen had convinced two alien ships to share their weapon systems. The Saurian ship fired its energy beams at the same time the human ship fired its plasma. The combined attack was something neither ship could do alone. The Void Stalker tried to adapt but couldn't. It expected one type of weapon or the other, not both mixed together. Its hull cracked and started leaking atmosphere. It works, Dr. Chen shouted. The machines can't adapt when we mix different technologies randomly. But the battle was getting worse. More Void Stalkers kept coming. They had learned from the early fights and were now harder to hit. Pilot Sarah Johnson tried her trick again, but this time the machines were ready. They fired back, and her fighter was damaged. She screamed as her ship spun out of control. "Sarah," Frank called over the radio. "Eject. Get out of there." "No," she replied, her voice shaky but determined. "I have an idea." She pointed her broken ship straight at a massive Void Stalker. Instead of using weapons, she pushed her engines to maximum power. The other ships watched in horror as she flew directly at the enemy. At the last moment, she did something impossible. She used her ship's damaged engine to create a gravity wave that pushed the Void Stalker into its neighbor. The two machines crashed together and exploded. Prime luminance floated closer to the viewing screen. How did she know that would work? Our computers said it was impossible. Captain Morrison smiled sadly. She didn't know. She guessed. Humans are good at guessing. Amy was working with alien scientists. Now, together, they created new weapon combinations every few minutes. Each one was different. Each one confused the machines a little more. The ethereal being spoke with wonder. "Your people, they think in ways we do not understand. They see possibilities we miss." Dr. Chen looked tired but excited. "It's not magic. We just try things. If they don't work, we try something else." The battle continued, but something had changed. The Council ships started fighting more like human ships, with creativity instead of just following old plans. For the first time in thousands of years, the Void Stalkers were not winning easily. The battle paused as more Void Stalker ships stopped appearing. Both sides needed time to repair and prepare. In the quiet moments, Prime Luminance called all leaders to an emergency meeting. The ancient ethereal being floated in the center of the room. Its light was dim, showing great age and worry. Around it, human and alien leaders waited. "There is something you must know," Prime Luminance said slowly. "The Void Stalkers are not random attackers. They have a purpose." Captain Morrison leaned forward. "What kind of purpose?" "They are guardians, created long ago by a race we call the Precursors. These beings ruled the galaxy before us, before anyone." Dr. Chen felt his heart beat faster. "The ones who built this station, who made the old technology." "Yes," the ethereal being sighed. "The Precursors gave us their technology, their stations, their laws. They told us to guide younger species carefully. Very carefully." Counselor Fex shifted uncomfortably. "We followed their rules. We controlled advancement. We prevented chaos. And we lived in fear," added the crystallite, flashing sad blue light. "Fear of the Void Stalkers. The Precursors warned us. If any species advanced too quickly, if anyone changed too much, the Guardians would wake." Ambassador Rodriguez stared at them. You mean humanity woke them up? Your rapid advancement triggered their awakening. Prime luminance confirmed. Your weapons, your artificial intelligence, your genetic changes. The precursors programmed the Void Stalkers to destroy such civilizations. Frank slammed his fist on the table. So for millions of years, you've been slaves to a bunch of dead aliens. You could have been exploring, learning, growing. We have been safe, the Vorthan said, water dripping from its gills. No wars between species. No one destroys themselves with dangerous science. Dr. Chen stood up, excited. But don't you see? The Void Stalkers are struggling against us. They're confused by our combined tactics. He pointed to the battle screens showing the recent fight. Look at how they reacted. They're not adapting to true cooperation. They're not adapting to real creativity. Amy nodded. The machines expect each species to fight alone, using their assigned technology. They can handle that. But when we work together, when we create new things, they can't keep up. Captain Morrison realized something important. The precursors never planned for species to truly cooperate. They wanted you all separated, controlled, predictable. Prime luminance flickered brighter. Perhaps the precursors were wrong about some things. Counselor Yith buzzed nervously. But if the Void Stalkers win, they will destroy everything. Every world, every life. Then we don't let them win. Captain Morrison said firmly. We fight them together. All of us. Dr. Chen pulled up data on his screen. I've been studying the precursor technology in this station. It's advanced, but it's also limited. They built everything to work in specific ways. They didn't plan for innovation. The Void Stalkers have the same limitation, Amy added. They were programmed by beings who thought progress had to be controlled. They don't understand true change. The Saurian counselor hissed thoughtfully. Human methods are so chaotic, so unpredictable. That's exactly why they work. Frank said, your people have been following the same patterns for millions of years. The machines know those patterns. Prime luminance floated higher, its light growing stronger. What do you propose? Captain Morrison looked around the room at all the different faces, human and alien, worried and hopeful. We change everything. No more following precursor rules. No more predictable tactics. We use every technology, every idea, every crazy plan anyone can think of. The council members looked at each other, fear and excitement mixed in their expressions. This is insane, the Crystallite said. Yes, Ambassador Rodriguez agreed. But sometimes insane ideas are the only ones that work. As if responding to their words, alarms began ringing again. The second wave of Void Stalkers was approaching. This time, there were more ships than anyone could count. The real battle was about to begin. The second wave of Void Stalkers was enormous. Thousands of black ships filled space like a storm cloud. Their weapons charged with terrible energy that made the stars themselves look dim. In the command center, all species worked together for the first time in millions of years. Human officers stood next to Saurian warriors. Ethereal beings shared data with crystallite computers. The council ships broke their old formations and prepared for something new. Captain Morrison issued orders to the mixed fleet. No formation flying. No predictable patterns. Every ship picks its own target and attacks differently than last time. Dr. Chen had spent hours in the alien laboratories. He came running onto the bridge with a device in his hands. I've done it. I've mixed human quantum computers with Zephyrian biotech and Vorthan energy systems. What does it do? Amy asked. It creates weapons that change randomly. Every shot is different. The machines can't adapt if they don't know what's coming next. Frank grinned and grabbed the device. Let's test this thing. The battle began with chaos. Human ships dove straight into the enemy fleet while Saurian vessels fired from long range. Crystallite ships created energy shields, while the ethereal beings used their power to confuse enemy sensors. The Void Stalkers tried to adapt, but everything was too different. One moment they faced human plasma. The next shot was ethereal energy mixed with Vorth and water weapons. They couldn't predict what was coming. Lieutenant Sarah Johnson, her fighter now repaired, flew in patterns that made no sense. She worked with a Zephyrian pilot who could see in different colors. Together, they created attacks that hurt the eyes to look at. "The machines are struggling," shouted Dr. Chen. "They're trying to adapt to too many things at once." But the Void Stalkers had a new strategy. They started working together, forming into one giant ship. All the smaller vessels locked together until they became a single massive machine as big as a moon. Captain Morrison stared at the screen. "What is that thing?" Prime Luminance's voice was worried. "The Collective. The Precursor's final weapon. If all else fails, all Void Stalkers can become one ultimate machine." The Collective fired. Its beam of dark energy destroyed 3 Council ships instantly. Where the shot hit, space itself seemed to tear. "We need a new plan," Frank said. "All our random attacks won't work on something that big." Amy was working at her station when she discovered something amazing. "Captain, I found something." When the machines joined together, they had to share one central computer. Dr. Chen understood immediately. One computer trying to control thousands of individual parts. It's like a human brain trying to control every cell in the body. Captain Morrison finished. "There has to be a delay, a connection that can be broken." The Saurian computers calculated quickly. The crystallite scanners found the connection points. The ethereal beings sensed the energy flows. "There," Amy pointed to the screen. 17 connection nodes on the surface, but they're heavily protected. "We need a distraction," Frank said. "Something so crazy that all its attention goes to one place." Captain Morrison had an idea, a very human idea. "All ships, listen carefully. We're going to do something incredibly stupid." The human ships moved first. They flew straight at the Collective, firing everything they had. It looked like a suicide attack. The massive machine turned all its weapons toward the humans, just as it was about to destroy them. Thousands of other ships appeared from behind the nearby moon. They were civilian ships, merchant vessels, passenger transports, even garbage haulers. Every ship that could fly had been armed with whatever weapons they could get. The Collective's computer was overwhelmed. It couldn't track thousands of small targets all attacking at once from different directions. In that moment of confusion, strike teams hit the connection nodes. Each team had members from different species working together. Amy flew her fighter into one of the nodes, firing Dr. Chen's random weapon. The explosion was beautiful, like a rainbow made of lightning. One by one, the connection nodes failed. The Collective started to break apart. The Void Stalkers couldn't stay combined. As the giant machine fell apart, Captain Morrison gave one last order. "All ships, final attack. Show them what happens when the galaxy works together." The combined fleet struck as one. Every weapon, every tool, every creative idea hit the separating machines. The Void Stalkers, confused and broken, couldn't adapt fast enough. In a flash of light that lit up the entire sector, the last Void Stalker was destroyed. Space was quiet now. The last pieces of broken Void Stalker ships drifted slowly through the darkness. No more enemy signals. No more alarms. The battle was finally over. On Nexus Prime, humans and aliens gathered in the Great Hall. The trial chamber had been forgotten. No one talked about judging humanity anymore. They had all seen what working together could do. Prime Luminance floated above the crowd, its light brighter than ever before. The ancient ethereal being spoke to all of them. Today, everything changed. For 5 million years, the Council followed the Precursor's rules. We controlled advancement. We prevented growth. We lived in fear. The beam paused, looking at the humans and aliens who stood side by side. But these humans showed us something we had forgotten. The joy of discovery. The power of new ideas. The strength that comes from working together as equals. Captain Morrison stepped forward. "We didn't win this battle alone. Every species here contributed something special. The crystallites calculated faster than any computer. The saurians fought with incredible courage. The ethereals shared power when we needed it most. Dr. Chen nodded. Your technologies saved us. Our creativity gave them new purposes. Together, we built things neither of us could have imagined. Ambassador Rodriguez addressed the council directly. The question now is, what happens next? Do we go back to the old ways, or do we choose a different path? Councillor Thex's scales showed bright patterns of excitement. The old ways are dead. The Void Stalkers proved that. We must learn from this. The Zephyrian buzzed in agreement. I want to see what new things we can discover together. Human ideas mixed with our knowledge. It sounds fascinating. Frank looked at the alien weapons around the room. Your people are afraid of change. But change doesn't have to mean destruction. It can mean growth. The crystallite flashed rainbow colors. We have been the same for so long. Maybe it is time to be different. Prime Luminance made an announcement that shocked everyone. The council, as it was, is ended. We will create something new. A galactic alliance where all species are equal partners. The humans and aliens cheered. After millions of years of rigid control, the galaxy would finally be free to explore and grow. Dr. Chen proposed the first joint project. We should build new ships. Ships that combine the best of all our technologies. Ships designed to explore beyond our galaxy. Amy smiled as she thought about the possibilities. Imagine what we might find out there. New worlds, new life, new ideas we can't even dream of yet. Captain Morrison was appointed as the first admiral of the new Galactic Alliance. He would command ships crewed by all species working together as one. The U.S. Resolution was the first of these new ships, built with technology from every race. It was unlike anything seen before. Its hull shimmered with crystal-like materials. Its computers ran on human ethereal hybrid systems. Its weapons combined saurian strength with Zephyrian precision. On launch day, Captain Morrison stood on the bridge with his mixed crew. Humans, saurians, crystallites, ethereals, vorthans, and Zephyrians all working together. Set course for the edge of the galaxy, he ordered. Let's see what's waiting for us out there. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Prime Luminance watched from the station. The ethereal being spoke quietly to itself. The precursors thought they could control the future. They thought their machines could enforce order forever. But they made one mistake. They never imagined the power of free minds working together. The ship disappeared into the vast darkness between stars. Behind it, the galaxy was already changing. Species that had been separated for millions of years were now sharing knowledge. New discoveries were happening every day. The humans, once seen as a mistake, had become the key to the galaxy's future, and that future was brighter than anyone had dared to imagine.